is not in their nature, if it's just temporary, their intent to harm us or harm you, that's just temporary. Again, is there a reason to get angry? Isn't that like getting angry with the sky? If there's smoke in the sky. And then also ask yourself, why do you get angry with the person? When it's actually their harmful intent or their anger. When it's actually the anger that is responsible for the harm. Getting angry with the person, isn't that like getting angry with the stick? And then lastly, also consider the causes that gave rise to the harm. Of those different causes, there are the secondary and the fundamental causes. And so the main cause, therefore, of the harm that we receive is the karma that we accumulated in the past. Harming someone in a similar way. So is it really justified to blame that person who's merely the secondary cause? to summarize, therefore, number one, with regard to the anger, why it is unjustified, well, the person who's angry doesn't really have any control. Their intent to harm us is neither adventitious, is not inherent in them, because if it were, what would be the point to get angry? If it is adventitious, again, what's the point in getting angry? Then, likewise, we should not get angry with the person, because it's really their anger, which is separate. We need to separate the person and the intent to harm. So we should get angry with the intent to harm, not with the person. And lastly, we see the person as the main perpetrator, but actually is our own karma. Okay? So if you have maybe if you can keep a short list of those, and whenever you feel anger, just go back to that list and analyze those points. And your anger will soften. Right? It'll soften. It'll just be, it's just a matter of habituation. And before you know, all these reasons come back and you can't get angry. You can't. It's almost like you want to, but you can't, because there's really no reason. Okay. But we have more to go. There's more to go. These reasons are really powerful. They're all from Shantideva, basically. Okay. So self-control, adventitiousness, inherency, then direct or indirect harm, and the causes. Okay. Now, the next point is the analysis. Oh, and I forgot to read a few lines from Shantideva. I might as well just do that with regard to karma. In the past, I caused sentient beings harm of this very sort, of this very type. Therefore, it is right that I experience this harm because I had injured this sentient being. Maybe I've actually injured that particular person, it's possible, or someone else in a similar fashion. The childish do not want suffering, but attached to the cause of misery, they act badly, causing themselves harm. What is there to blame on another? So basically, we ourselves created the causes, and we continue creating them. And then there's something that Geshe Shawopa says, Kadamba Geshe. It's kind of a little strong, so he's pretty much kind of straightforward, so very Tibetan straightforward. When someone says, it's not my fault, this shows that they do not have the slightest Dharma practice. This is not my fault at all, I didn't do anything, right? If there's this feeling, well, a little bit, at least of karma, a little bit at least we've done actions in the past. Yes? Geshe Shawopa, Shawopa. Okay. So this is with regard to the object, the person who makes us angry. Now we should look at ourselves. Okay? We have already to some degree, but more now an analysis of the object, saying that anger is unjustified. Okay. So subject here refers to not just us, but our understanding, our feelings, our attitudes, our perception, thoughts, and so forth. So actually from our own point of view, does it actually make sense if we want to be happy, we do not want to suffer, does it make sense to get angry? In the sense that if I get angry, it being unjustified from the point of view of the person who harms us, that we've already dealt with, but do I want to experience the same thing again? That's the question. Because if someone harms me and I retaliate in a similar fashion out of anger, I do whatever I do. So I'm not saying we cannot subdue this person. I'm not saying we cannot react in a strong way, but out of anger, like an angry reaction. It's always extreme. So if I get angry and I react out of that anger, I accumulate the same again. It'll just be like continuing that wheel. You've started it and you continue over and over. Do I really want that? Or do I have a choice? Sometimes we say, this person makes me angry. But that's not true. No one makes us angry. No one forces it. There's always a choice. usually is a choice, right? To some degree. Okay? So, especially if we choose to do this practice, because we have this ability, I mean, so many people, no one knows about, so many people, no one knows about this. There's so many people who do not know about this. That anger is bad for them. They do not know about karma. Usually, those who harm us don't. And even if they do, well, can't really put it into practice. So we have here the opportunity to put this into practice. So therefore we do create a choice. We create space in our mind that we may not react in such a way. So that's to say someone makes us angry? No. We have a choice here. We can learn how to deal with this. So therefore this is the time to decide. What do I want? Oh, I like to be harmed. I like other people to beat me up or do whatever, say horrible things to me and destroy my reputation, etc. If I like that, well, let's continue. If I don't, well, then let's choose in the right direction, right? So, understanding that when someone harms us, in fact, if we want this harm to be repeated, well, we need to get angry and retaliate. If we don't retaliate. And the good thing is that by them harming us, we finish off a negative karma. So we finish off a negative karma when they harm us.
They earn the negative karma while they make us a favor.
Yeah, actually, and we get to that point later on, we'll consider this, actually they do us a favor because a negative karma is gone. You finish off a negative karma. The result of that karma can no longer be experienced by experiencing the harm, right? So that one is gone, out of the way. It doesn't have to be. It's almost like, you know, some uncomfortable work you have to do. You've done it and no longer has to be done, right? Something is out of the way. No longer have to experience the results of that. Plus, if we do not get angry, we don't experience the same again. Whereas on the other hand, we finish off the karma, thank you very much, that's good, but then we create a new one, well, it's just silly, right? I mean, we're really just harming ourselves. It's a bit like someone takes a knife out of your body and you step another one inside, right? It was a bit like that. Someone has just pulled out a knife because by harming you, they're actually pulling out the knife and now you put it in again. It's a bit like that a little bit, right? So actually our enemy provides us with the opportunity to exhaust negative karma. How kind. Plus to practice patience. Double kind. Right? I mean, think about it. We think the opposite way. Yeah? In actuality, well, also the injury we experience right now, we experience in a situation where we're quite fortunate. This could happen to us in a situation, in a different rebirth, in a different situation, where it's very difficult, where we don't have choices. So in a way, it's good it happened in this lifetime. In this lifetime, we learn about how to react in certain situations, how to make the most of something. If we are, let's say we are born in a state where we have no freedom, and then someone injures us, it's much worse. So we're lucky it happened in this lifetime, right? Because we do have choices. All right? So that's another thing to take into consideration. So Shantideva in this context says, if I'm not able to bear this minor misery right now, why don't I stop my anger, the cause of the great suffering of hell? Right? Yeah. Okay. So therefore, rather than getting angry, we should rejoice. Yeah, that karma is gone. Thank you. So again, Shantideva says, without thinking about destroying his own virtue, it seems someone is purifying my non-virtuous karma. If I'm not patient with this person, what could be less considerate than that? They're helping us to overcome this negative karma. If I'm not, how horrible! They're actually taking out a knife, and I'm putting it in again. I mean, come on, right? Again, okay. So does that make sense? That point. Do you want to spend a moment to just reflect on that? We can also go into the... Do you prefer these short ones where we just focus on one, or maybe put more together? Does it make a difference? Short ones are okay? All right, let's take a moment on just that. just focusing on the breathing. So now having reflected on the past no harms us, let's focus on ourselves. So is anger really justified? If the harm that someone inflicts on us is actually a situation where a negative karma has now been finished off. Basically, experience a negative result that we can in the future no longer experience. So instead of getting angry, shouldn't we rather be joyful? So having had this joyful experience of a past negative karma being finished off, would we really react with anger to create a new karma, a new negative karma? That over time may increase and create a lot of future suffering for ourselves? So therefore, instead of retaliating, wouldn't it make more sense to be grateful to the person who inflicted harm on us? Helping us to finish off a negative karma. question is, should we take a break now or go through one more section and do the meditation and then have the break? It's up to you. Still have some energy to go. Do you want to take a break? Like,
Break.
yes, please, break. Yes. Okay.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. I'm confused. Yes to what? Okay, let's take a break.